Hey retro food fans, today we're going back to 1992-ish to explore a recipe that I learned when I just started working in the corporate world. You're gonna love it. Let's get started. Hey everyone, this is Yes Your Kitchen and I'm Jill. So today I'm gonna give you a little bit of my food history. So I started in the corporate world around 1992-ish, and one of my very first jobs was in an insurance company. But a lot of nice people worked there. And every once in a while we would do a company potluck and everyone would bring something. So anyway, there was this man, he was back then maybe in his like mid-60s. He had wire glasses and just like kind of a little gray cul-de-sac, and he was the sweetest man in the world. And his name was either Jim or Bill, I can't remember, but he was just one of those guys that everybody loved and you just could not like this guy. And the very first potluck, he brought something called Texas hash. He was from Texas. And everyone was like, oh my God. And every potluck after that, he had to bring it. And then after a couple, we all started begging for the recipe. So one day, he brought us all the recipe. Now check this out. This is my actual recipe. And he wrote it on something called a typewriter. Now this was like a modern, very old technology, kind of like a word processor, but there were no delete keys and it was all manual. I know, I'm joking. It was a typewriter, and I just want to show you this recipe because it's like clearly, when have you seen anything on a typewriter lately, right? So here is his recipe. And look, he even there's no delete key, there's no whiteout, you just X out the mistakes. So anyway, he brought it in and now we could all make it at home, and I haven't really made it in a long time. I was looking through my recipes and I came across it. I went, oh my God, I need to make this. So I did, and it just brought back so many decent memories of work, but I want to share it with you now. So this is so simple. I already have my oven onto 350 and we're gonna get started. So this is a very simple dish. The first thing we're gonna need, the recipe calls for a pound of ground beef, but I got a pound and a half, just for extra good measure. And I'm just gonna put it in here. And you're just gonna wanna cook this until it browns. So I'm gonna go ahead and cook this until it browns, and I will be right back. Okay, so our ground beef is all browned. I use an 80-20 blend ground beef. I'm getting a little bit of fat in there, because we're not going to drain it and we have some vegetables to cook. Now I am going to stay completely true to this recipe. I think he probably doubled or quadrupled it or tripled it or whatever when he brought it to the office, because he brought it in this big pot. But this is just one serving, and I'm guessing this is going to feed between 4 and 6 people. So our ground beef is all brown. Now he says to move all the ground beef to one side of the pan. And on the other side of the pan, we're going to add 1 large, thinly sliced green pepper and 2 large, thinly sliced onions. So that's what we'll do. You guys remember your first jobs? I was fresh out of college, and that's when all the recruiters come to school and interview you, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. My degree's in communications, big surprise, and so this just looked like something that I could do. I didn't stay very long, but at least I got an awesome recipe. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to let this stuff cook down and kind of stir it. Yeah, you can just kind of go in here and stir it a little bit. It's probably going to take about a good 8 or 10 minutes for these veggies to cook down. So I will be right back when they are, and we'll be on to the next step. So take a look at our vegetables. They are getting nice and wilty, and here's how I did it. I went ahead, and the way I kept it separate is I used my handy dandy little tongs, and I just kept turning it just like that, like spaghetti. And I just keep going, so all the less cooked ones can go underneath closer to the heat source. And that's kind of how you want to keep them separate. So now that they're all nice and soft, we're going to bring them all together. So the next thing we're going to do is I have 1/2 cup of plain white rice, and on it goes. I have one 16-ounce can, I think they're about 14-ounce cans, of chopped up tomatoes, canned tomato juice and all. And we have 1 tablespoon of chili powder. I think it needs a little bit of a kick, so I did do a tablespoon, but it was a very rounded tablespoon. You could do whatever you want. This is New Mexican red chili powder. Whatever you have will be totally fine. Chili powder all over the place. And then the recipe just says salt and pepper. It doesn't really say how much. So I'm going to say it's about a teaspoon of salt. And then maybe like a half a teaspoon of pepper. And of course, fresh ground because it tastes so much better. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to stir everything together. Oops, I'm losing some tomatoes. All these veggies, all this meat, all this rice, everything's going to come together. And once you do that, you're going to wait for your pot to come up to boil again. So that should just take a couple more minutes. All right, so now we're up to a boil, and make sure everything is super mixed together well. Hey, my Texas friends, have you heard of Texas hash? Or anyone in the country or the world? I know you're all out there. Who's heard of Texas hash? I would love to know, and I would love to hear any different versions, because you know, I totally love that stuff. So please tell me. Okay. So now everything is all mixed together. This is really starting to look like some memories for me. I'm really excited. Okay, so now I have a 2-quart casserole that's greased. And all we're going to do is we're going to put this glorious mixture. Uh-oh. It's a little heavy, but we're going to do this. There we go. Woo! Right in the pan. Get everything. And now this is going to go into an oven, uncovered, for 45 minutes to an hour. You just want, after 45 minutes, just watch it. What you really want is you want that rice to absorb all the liquid. So when you see the rice is done, you can taste it. There's nothing wrong with tasting it. Then it's time to come out of the oven. And when it comes out of the oven for me, I will be right back with you. And I made a little error. You want to cover it. Of course you want to cover it. I don't know what I was thinking, because you want that moisture trapped so the rice can absorb the water. Boom! Reality TV. We all make mistakes. Anyway, covered in the oven 45 minutes to an hour, and now I'll be back. So it's been about 55 minutes. Your oven may vary. Take a look. Got a little bit of the steam out. Oh my goodness, look at that. Is that gorgeous? All your rice is cooked. All your peppers are cooked. It is just expanded, and it's just, this brings back memories for me. It's so good. It's so good. This is a perfect thing to bring to a potluck. This is a perfect thing to make for dinner. It's so easy. It's stick it in the oven, forget it. And of course, I have my happy little cocktail plates. And you just kind of do that. You know, salad. You already have rice, so you don't probably need bread. But salad, dinner is served. Thanks for letting me bring back some of my own memories. If you would like to explore more dishes from your childhood, or just the past, I invite you to subscribe. I release new videos every Friday. In the meantime, here's some more retro dishes for you. And remember, every dish, even Texas hash from my workplace, has a story. I'll see you in the next video.